The Galactic Council had miscalculated, drastically. Ambassador Zexithera studied the holographic display with growing unease, her chitinous fingers clicking nervously against the crystalline surface of her desk. The human homeworld, Terra, glowed serenely blue and white in the projection, but the data stream surrounding it told a different story entirely. "Are you certain these readings are accurate?" she asked her aide, a nervous Velthari whose scales shifted from green to pale yellow with anxiety. "Triple-checked, Ambassador. Human military production has increased by 400% in the last standard cycle. Their civilian shipping has been retrofitted with armor plating and weapon systems, and their deep space mining operations—" The aide's voice trailed off as he manipulated the display, showing asteroid belts that had been completely stripped bare. "They're building something massive." Zexithera's mandibles clicked in distress. 6 months ago, the Council had made what seemed like a reasonable decision. Humanity had been expanding too aggressively, colonizing systems with an efficiency that made the older species nervous. Their ships were crude but effective, their diplomacy blunt but honest, and their expansion rate unprecedented in galactic history. So the Council had acted, not with direct aggression, that would violate a dozen treaties, but by unleashing the Keth Mori. The Keth Mori were perfect for the task, a nomadic species of raiders who existed in the spaces between civilizations, striking fast and disappearing into the void. Officially, the Council had no connection to them. Unofficially, certain payments had been made, certain information shared about human trade routes and colony defenses. It was meant to slow humanity down, make them reconsider their rapid expansion. A few lost cargo ships, some damaged frontier outposts, nothing that would cripple them, just enough to make them more cooperative. The plan had worked flawlessly for 3 months. Human colonies reported raids, supply lines were disrupted, and several frontier settlements went dark. The humans had lodged formal complaints with the Council as expected, and had been given the standard diplomatic responses about investigating the matter and increasing patrols in affected sectors. But then something unexpected happened. The raid stopped, not because the Keth Mori had ended their campaign, but because there were no more Keth Mori to conduct raids. "Show me the Kepler system data again," Zexithera commanded. The hologram shifted to display a star system that had once housed the largest Keth Mori fleet base. Where there should have been a massive asteroid fortress and hundreds of raider ships, there was now only debris and expanding plasma clouds. The human fleet designation Retribution arrived in system approximately 47 standard hours ago, the aide reported, his voice barely above a whisper. Battle duration was 17 minutes. 17 minutes. The Keth Mori had been raiding civilized space for over 2 centuries, and humanity had eliminated their primary stronghold in less time than it took to file a formal diplomatic protest. And the other bases? Gone, all of them. The humans didn't just respond to raids. They tracked down every Keth Mori outpost, supply depot, and hidden shipyard across 3 spiral arms. It's like they had been mapping Keth Mori positions for months before they struck. Zexithera's blood ran cold. Of course they had. Humans didn't just react. They analyzed, planned, and then acted with devastating efficiency. The Council had unleashed raiders on humanity's frontier, thinking they were dealing with a typical expanding species that would negotiate when pressured. Instead, they had given humanity exactly what every intelligence report warned about: a legitimate reason to militarize on a scale that dwarfed their previous expansion efforts. The door chimed, and her secretary announced the arrival of the human ambassador. Zexithera had been dreading this moment for weeks. Ambassador Sarah Chen entered the chamber with the calm confidence that humans seemed to possess regardless of circumstances. She was neither tall nor imposing by galactic standards, but there was something in her eyes that made Zexithera's carapace feel inadequate protection. "Ambassador Zexithera," Chen said, inclining her head politely. "I trust you've been reviewing the recent developments in the Outer Rim territories?" "Ambassador Chen, the Council wishes to express our relief that the Keth Mori threat has been addressed. We had been working on our own solution, but clearly your people's response was more efficient." Chen's smile was polite and absolutely terrifying. "Oh, the Keth Mori were never really the issue, were they? They were merely a symptom of a larger problem." Zexithera's mandibles clicked involuntarily. "I'm not sure I follow." "The problem," Chen continued, settling into the chair designed for human physiology, is that certain parties in the galactic community seem to believe that humanity can be managed through proxies and indirect pressure. This represents a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature. She activated a small device, and the air between them filled with holographic images, shipping manifests, financial records, communication intercepts, evidence of the Council's involvement with the Keth Mori, laid out with methodical precision. You see, Ambassador, when someone unleashes raiders on our colonies, on our families, we don't just respond defensively. We take it as an invitation to demonstrate why such actions are inadvisable. The holograms shifted to show new images, massive shipyards in the Sol system, fleets of vessels that made even Council dreadnoughts look quaint, and construction projects that defied easy categorization. The Keth Mori gave us exactly what we needed, Chen explained, her voice carrying the tone of someone discussing weather rather than galactic warfare. Public support for military expansion, justification for new defense budgets, and most importantly, a clear demonstration to anyone watching that humanity's previous restraint was a choice, not a limitation. Zexathera stared at the projections. In 6 months, humanity had built a war machine that could challenge the combined might of half the galaxy. Not because they were threatened with extinction, but because someone had dared to threaten their expansion. "What do you want?" Zexathera asked, abandoning diplomatic niceties. Chen's smile widened. "What we've always wanted, Ambassador. Room to grow. The difference is that now, instead of asking permission, we're simply informing you of our intentions." She stood, smoothing down her simple diplomatic attire. "Oh, and Ambassador? Thank you. My people were getting soft from all this peace and prosperity. Nothing motivates human innovation quite like someone telling us we can't have something we want." As Chen left the chamber, Zexathara slumped in her chair, staring at the holographic display of human fleet movements. Dozens of expeditionary forces were already moving toward previously contested systems, no longer bothering with the slow dance of diplomatic negotiation. The Council had wanted to slow human expansion by unleashing raiders on their frontier. Instead, they had given humanity exactly what they needed, a reason to stop asking for permission and start taking what they wanted. The worst part, Zexathera realized, was that the humans were probably grateful for it.